Hello everyone to a new live webinar hosted by the Huawei Enterprise Support Community. This is Elena, your host for today. Our presenter is Muhammad Fahim. He is a second time webinar host for us. And this is the second part of our webinar. Just a quick introduction, maybe some of you may not be familiar with our community. This is the official support community for Huawei Enterprise Product Solutions and Certifications. We have many members who are able to provide support, to answer questions, to interact, exchange experience, and share with each other. We have also specialized moderators in the community who are able to provide technical support. Within 24 hours, you'll receive your solution if you have a technical question, and if you have a technical issue, you need to use the Ask for Help option to post your question in the community. If you are interested in learning, I also recommend you to join, to subscribe to different technical collections, to check out our technical magazines and e-journals that we post regularly. And if you want to have a more active role in the community, you can also join the Elite Users program, where you will have access to some exclusive benefits and rewards. If you cannot commit to the Elite Users program, you can still get access to different rewards. Like, for example, today, if you participate in the activities we have prepared for you, you can win high coins, which are the virtual currency of this community. And you can use the high coins to exchange them for different physical items in the online shop. I will share a bit more about that later in the meeting when I will present you the activities we have for today. Before that, I think I will also share one more time the webinar post for now. So this in the chat is the webinar post link. I will mention it later as well. Basically, if you want to participate in the activity, you need to go to this post. If you want to check out the recording afterwards, this is also where you can go. And before we officially start the webinar, let's welcome our host for today, an expert with an impressive experience, like you can see, not only in terms of certifications that he has, but also in terms of trainings. As I said, the first time, it was a true pleasure and honor for me to have him as the webinar host in the community. Thank you so much for joining us for the second session. Thank you for accepting to become a webinar host in the community. And the first session was a real success. There were a lot of questions, and Fahim, he's a great trainer. So he decided to check each question one by one and answer it. So thank you again for this second session. Please use your chance to ask your questions to our host. And with that being said, let's invite our host Muhammad Fahim to join us and take over. I will not interrupt him. I will also be here as a moderator. I will check the questions, I'll check the chat, but our star today is Muhammad Fahim. Thank you for being here with us.
Hello everyone, thanks Alina once again. Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Fahim, the webinar host. As you know that in my last post, I have done several certification, as you can see in the presentation slide, and 50 plus corporate trainings and 8 years of experience in the different university as a visiting faculty. and I'm working in a different organization. I'm in the QCS, and I have a 15 year of background as a product manager and solution architect. Excuse me. So let's start. So in our last lecture, we have discussed the what is the IPSec VPN, and what are the let's we have the quick summary of that last session. So quickly review what we have understand in last slides. And by the way, if you want to see the detailed slides, Elena already shared the detail uh, of last webinar in chat box. You can see the 79 webinar, which link already shared by the Alina, the detailed session of this. So let's have the quick summary of this session, of the last session. Then we will move forward to the our next slide, which is the IPSec VPN application scenarios, right? So what is the VPN? We have already discussed in the, it is the replacement of the lease line. You know that we use the lease line to connect one site to another site. For example, T1 line, E1 line, and T3 lines, fiber optics, microwave links, and sometimes use the satellite links. uh, that links provide the dedicated connectivity with the different bandwidth and deployment method to meet the various type of the business needs, right? But problem is that that link is too costly. So the VPN, virtual private network, can to the market and provide the cost-effective solution and cost-effective alternative solution for the T1 line, or you can say that the dedicated line, right? It provides a secure connection by encrypting the internet traffic to make a tunnel and serving as a cost-effective alternate for the dedicated lease line. For example, last time already given you the example. For example, you imagine a VPN is a big pipe under the ocean, right? And separate from the seawater above. Your data travel through this secure tunnel, keeping it safe from bad actors and hackers, something like that, right? So you just imagine you're flowing your data under the ocean, and ocean is a full of water, and you full of data, and you are considering a pipeline between the ocean, so which is separate your other data or other water. Your pipeline is secure. Whatever you want to travel in it, nobody can touch it, right? So it's a dedicated pipeline from one point to another point to separate the over the internet, and you can separate your pipeline to the other data, right? So this is the main concept of you can say that the VPN. So there is a several type of VPNs available in the market, but we will discuss the IPsec VPN, right? IPsec VPN is a suite of protocols. It's just the collection of the protocols, right, which ensure that the IP network by providing the data encryption, integrity, and authentication through the mechanism like we have discussed, the authentication header, AH, and ESP encapsulation solution, security payload, and it also used the security association and the IKE, Internet Key Exchange protocol, to manage the encryption keys and security parameters. IPsec is commonly used to creating the secure VPN and enable secure remote access as well. So as we discussed in our last slides and last lecture, so it's depend on the there's a four main key concepts, as you can see that there is a authenticity, confidentiality, integrity, which include the hashing as well, and anti-replay. This is the main four, the pillars of IPsec. Not only the IPsec, if I'm not wrong, that it is the main pillar of security as well. If you are you understand the concept of these four concept, the understanding of the four these pillars, you will understand how security work and how of course how IPsec is also work, right? So what is the authenticity, ensuring that the data or communication is from a verified and trusted source. You know each other, where you are sending, where is data come from. So this is the authenticity. For example, Fahim and Danish use the digital signature and to authenticate each other and establish a secure IPsec connection. Uh, you just, mostly whenever you are using that checkbook and the banks are identify your signature. Similarly, in the computer networks and networks, so we be using the digital certificates or password pre-shared keys, or you can say that the other mechanism we have already discussed in our last lecture is the public key infrastructure, which is the PKI, right? Other thing is the confidentiality, protecting information from the unauthorized access and ensuring it remain private. Nobody can check it or nobody can understand it. So whether you want to send your data, that person only can understand this. For example, Fahim encrypt an email to Danish with the IPsec. So the encrypted content ensure that the intercorporate cannot read it without a decryption key. Encryption key, it's a key, for example, we have quoted in the last lecture. Example is encryption is the shifted three, right? So the A become the D and D become the A become the B, D, and B become E, and C become E. Once you decrypt it, shift it back to the main position, then D become to A, and so on, right? So this is the encryption, and this is the way encryption work, right? When whoever who have the key of that data, he, that person only can decrypt and unlock the encrypted data, right? So there are so many encryption techniques are going on. For example, the DAS, 3 DAS, advanced DAS. So there is a advanced AES as well, 128, 256. There are several encryption techniques available in the market, right? Which you can use and you can encrypt your data, right? Other thing is integrity. So integrity, once you have there, encrypt the data, you just transmit it, and still it's vulnerable because somebody cannot understand, but they can add some extra keys and some extra bits on the data to protect it, to interact with your in to ensure it that data is accurate and complete and has not been tampered with anyone. So you have to deploy the integrity. You have to check the integrity as well. For example, Fahim sent a file with a appended with hash code. So for to secure it, the to ensure the integrity, we apply the hash code. To hash value, deploy on that. For example, Fahim sent to file with the appended with the hash code, and Danish verify the hash values upon recipient to ensure the file hasn't been tampered. Because, for example, you just uh, send the data ABC, and you are shifted with the shifted three mechanism with the encryption, right? And you also said that there is a three digits. So the other hand, the Danish understand that that one is the three-digit code, right? If anybody, any hackers or and a bad guy intercept or temper the data or try to manipulate the data and try to convert the 4 bit, so you understand that Fahim sent three digits, not four, right? So something like that, these type of hashing mechanism is going on, and we apply the hashing key on the data to verify to ensure the integrity, right? There are several mechanisms also available. For example, hashing mechanism is available for the MD5 and SHA and SHA 256, etc. So this is the concept of the integrity which we are discussing in our last lecture, right? And finally, the anti-replay. Sometimes, the DAS and 3DAS, whatever the encryption mechanism is available in the market, it's still breakable by brute force attack, right? But it will take time. Whatever you have, for example, you have a time you want to break the encryption technique of the S, so it will take 24 hours. And if you want to break the dash, it will take 8 hours, for example, right? So it is still breakable. It's still take time, but it will crack. But so to overcome this, what IPSec did, IPSec append one sequence number, right? One unique sequence number. For example, Fahim sent data packet with a unique sequence number. If intercepted and replayed, the ANI system detect that and discard the duplicate packet, because it's a certain time of time the we have appended, right? So the sequence number should be there, right? So if there any duplicate packet comes after certain time, so the anti-replay function will identify it and discard the duplicate fact. Okay. Now, so there is a, you can see that if you want to see the picture, there's the right side of the slide. There is a six basic concept of IPsec, right? So we have already discussed in detail in last lecture what is these six concepts. Let's review it once again. IPsec peer and tunnel, IPsec, excuse me, IPsec peers can be a gateway, can be a router and a firewall, or maybe it can be a host as well. So multiple IPsec tunnel can be exist between the peers. So peer, it's the endpoints, or you can say that the gateway or router, firewall, whatever, and the tunnel is exist between the two points, for example, the gateways or routers or firewalls, right? So IPsec tunnel can be exist between the peers, right? Each protecting a specific data flow with the different requirements, right? So this is the basic, IPsec pairs and IPsec tunnels. So the second one is the security protocols. Security protocols. It's a IPsec authentication header and ESP tunnel, right? So authentication header ensure that the integrity, there is a just bit difference between both of authentication header and encapsulation security payload, ESP. AH provide the integrity, authentication, and anti-replay. And ESP provide the encryption as well, while the authentication header is not provide the encryption, but ESP provide the encryption as well. So we have a detailed discussion on these four pillars, and AH provide uh, integrity, authentication, and anti-replay, but not provide the encryption. But ESP provide the encryption, authenticity, integrity, and anti-replay as well, right? So similarly, encapsulation mode, there are we have discussed the two modes. One is the transport mode, and other one is the tunnel mode. Transport mode secure the communication between the two hosts, or you can say that you host to VPN gateway, right? By adding the AH and ESP, which here we have discussed, right? And tunnel mode secure communication between two VPNs. Mostly we are using the two VPNs. We are using tunnel mode in the when we are connecting the two VPN gateways or VPN host to gateway. So if you are comparing both technologies and the both mode, so tunnel mode offer more security by authenticating and encrypting entire packets, IP packet, hiding IP address, protocol type, and port types and port numbers. And but problem is that you are when you are adding these type of the things or hiding, so you need the more bandwidth, right? uh, Other than the if you are comparing with the transport mode, right? So this is the main encapsulation mode. So what else? What is the IKE? IKE is the internet key exchange. It is the secure communication parameters, exchanging the encryption keys and setting up a secure connection automatically. Uh, the protocol in we are using in this the KMP Internet Security Association Key Management Protocol. Manage the SAs and encryptions the key, right? We have discussed in this there was a two version of IKE, one version one and version two, right? So IKE one version one used in two phases for the SA negotiation, while IKE version two simplify the process, right? And mostly we are using with the IKE version two. Now the security association, if you can see the left hand side, you can see that the association define security parameter of IPsec communication, including the encryption, authentication, uh, uniquely identified by SPI. We have discussed in our last lecture and in detailed discussion of the SPI and destination IP address and secure protocol ID, which is maybe AH or maybe ESP, right? So for the SPI, for the IKey security mechanism, you can see that there is a four mechanism we have discussed in our last last lecture, right? So in IKE security mechanism, there is a identity authentication, identity protection, and Diffie-Hellman key exchange, and preferred forward secrecy, right? So these are the four main pillar or main security IKE security mechanism, right? So IK securely authenticate identity, distribution, and key, establish IPsec essays, and it use identity authentication, identity protection, DH exchange, and algorithm and PFS as well, right? So what is the identity authentication? It's a method of include PSK authentication. Maybe you can use the different type of the authentication mechanism as well, which we have discussed, right? As a signature authentication and digital envelope authentication, symmetric and asymmetric encryption. Maybe you can use to protect your data, to secure your data, right? So symmetric and asymmetric keys exchange we have discussed in our last lecture, right? Furthermore, identity protection, IPsec encrypt data and protocol message using the symmetric encryption algorithm like DAS and 3 DAS and advanced encryption, which is called AES, right? And furthermore, they use that Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm, DH key, right, which use the public key and private key concept we have discussed in our last lecture, which allow secure key exchange or insecure channel without the transmitting the key, ensuring only the communicating parties can compute the shared keys only. So sending body or receiving body both exchanging their public keys and keeping their private key there with their self. So once anybody want to send to the data, they will share the data with the help of the public key, and only that private key will decrypt the data. We have detailed discussion in our last lecture, right? So PFS ensure the security of other keys, even if one key is deciphered by performing an additional DH key exchange. So then IPSec and PFS implemented through an additional DeFi element exchanging during the IPSec SA negotiation, right? So these are these type of the technologies we have discussed in our last lecture and last slides, right? So let's have the next lecture, and let's move to the next part of the presentation, IPsec VPN application scenarios, right? There are the several scenarios available in the market, or you can say that you can utilize the IPsec in a several way. As you can see that site to site IPsec, hub and spoke IPsec, L2TPO IPsec, GRE over IPsec. These terms we will discuss today in a detailed way, right? In a detailed manner. Okay, so first we will discuss the site to site IPsec. So you can see that site-to-site VPN is also called LAN-to-LAN VPN or gateway-to-gateway VPN, in which an IPsec tunnel is established between two gateway for ensuring communication between LANs. As you can see that there is a topology where the headquarter and branch is connected with the directly with the help of the IPsec tunnel, right? So you can see that this is the cloud is the headquarter network, and there is a branch is a branch side network, right? So we will deploy, there is a two you can say that the firewall between them, right? So what is the networking requirement of this scenario? Or the PC1 or PC2, you can assume that PC1 is the deployed at the branch, and PC2 is deployed at the headquarter end. Then PC1 and PC2 have a secure communication through a security channel established between the firewall A and firewall B. You can see that there is a firewall A and firewall B as well, right? So you can see that there is a network connected to the firewall is the 10.1.2.1. And if you are talking about the peer side, both the peer side is the 10.1.1.5.1, and other side is 1.1.3.1. The both sides are connected, and the LAN area connected with the 10 network, and the internet or WAN area is connected with the 1.1.3.1, right? So these are the topologies, right? So an authenticator is configured for the proposal by using the PSK authentication mode, right? Both firewall A and firewall B have a fixed public IP, or you can say that the static IP. You can say that which you can, sometimes you have to buy, or sometimes you have to take from the ISP, the public IP address. So the both, and you have the public IP, which is when public IP address of the two networks are fixed, and the network need to communicate with each other. Then side-to-side IPsec tunnel can be established in IKE negotiation mode, so that device on either network can initiate a connection, right? Side-to-side application, the most typical IPsec VPN scenario will elaborate in upcoming slide, right? Okay. So let's move to the configuration part of the side-to-side IPsec VPN, right? So what is the main steps? So first, once when you are using the web user interface, right? When you are configuring the IPsec through the web user interface. By the way, it's configuring IPsec on the CLI is a bit difficult if you are talking about the in the GUI base, right? So GUI configuring IPsec on the CLI is a greatly different from that on the web interface, right? On the web interface, you can configuration items are simplified and integrated for different scenarios, meeting the requirements in a different scenarios. You can easily utilize it by the web interface. So you can see that there is four major steps. You can set the local parameter first, in which you can set the local IP addresses, IPsec policies, and tunnel ingress and egress parameters, right? And then you set the pair parameters. Pair parameter is should be a IP addresses of the peer and peer name as well, right? And also define. Then you define the data flow to be protected, which include the source and the destination addresses, or sometimes ports as well, right? After the all these three steps, then you will configure the IKE negotiation parameters, which is called the security proposal, in which you set the IKE proposal and IPsec proposal, right? So after that, you just plan your data according to the requirement of your network. For example, you can see I just for example for the test purpose, I just mentioned some configuration. Some I collect some test data, right? Which is you will then show which will be change in your real scenario in real network, right? So you just, for example, I'm taking these type of data IPsec configuration on the firewall A and firewall B. You can just keep in your mind with this topology. If you see this topology, right? I just take this data in a raw material and in the text form, right? So this type of configuration, IPsec configuration, you will perform on the firewall A, where the pair IP should be a 1.1.5.1 and authentication mode should be the PSK. PSK password will be key will be the Huawei and local ID type is IP address and IP type will be any, right? And make sure the both and have the same keys and same authentication mode. So your communication will be start, right? Once these are the planning, right? When you are going to configure it through the GUI mode, you just go to the firewall page and go to the choose the network and go to the IPsec and in the IPsec click on the add to create an IPsec policy. Once you create the the IPsec policy, you will see this type of window in front of you. As you can see that the add IPsec policy here, right? In this page, configure the IPsec policy, name the local interface, or once you are going there, you just select the site to site VPN, right? Site to site scenario, right? So we will discuss the site to multi-site scenario in the next upcoming slides, right? And configure the IP policies name and the local interface information as shown in the you can see in the figure, right? And select the PSK authentication mode and set the PSK to Huawei, as a both on both side. Specify the local port IP address of the IP pair as shown, as you can see in the figure, right? So these are the parameters you have to set, right? So when you have configure the basic concept and basic IP the IPsec policy parameters of site to site, you select and configure the data flow to be protected. Then click on the click add under the data flow and be encrypted and excuse me. Okay. Uh, Now, configuring the data flow to be protected, click add under the data flow to be encrypted and add a data flow rules by specifying the following parameters. As you can see that these are the parameters. Specify the source and destination network segments and select the encryption, what type of encryption you are taking place, and action, right? So after configuring the IKE proposal, unfold the advanced and IKE as IPsec proposal and configure IKE and IPsec negotiation parameters. As you can see that in this way you just select the first of all the version of the IKE, which type of version you are using, IKE version 1 or version 2, which we have discussed in our previous slides. Mostly we are using the version 2, or you can select the both version as well, right? And the other IKE negotiation parameter which should be consistent with the pair configuration. That means whatever you are selecting in one side, it should be similar with the other side. Otherwise, your communication or your the tunnel will not establish. Most of the time. We did these type of mistakes once in the several 80% time or 90% of the time, once we are investigating and troubleshooting the issues why the tunnel is not established. So 90% of the time is the misconfiguration issue, right? So whenever we try to troubleshoot, you just keep in your mind, make your notes on the paper, and what you are communicating, make the script first, whatever you want to put in the you can say that the information, you make sure that make data first, plan first, and whatever you are putting in site A, or whatever firewall A, for example, in our case, whatever you are specifying and deploying in site A or firewall A, similar deploy to the firewall B as well, right? So what is the encryption parameters, authentication pattern parameters? You can see what we have discussed in our last lectures. These parameters we already discussed in details, right? So encryption we have discussed, authentication we discussed, integrity we have discussed, and anti-replay we have discussed. All these parameters you have to set in this page. Where you can select the encryption, authentication, integrity, what type of integrity you will select, and PRF. What is the protocols we are using? You just see in this slide. Okay. So configuring once you have done with the IKE proposal, you just select the configuration of the IPsec proposal. In this proposal, you again select with the ESP, first of all, encapsulation mode, what type of encapsulation you are selecting. It could be a automatic, it could be a tunnel mode, it could be a transport mode, right? Which we have discussed in our last slides, right? After the encapsulation mode, there is a security protocols should be there, for example, ESP, AH, and sometime both, right? So after ESP encryption, there is so many authentication parameters available. Configure the parameter related to ESP or AHP authentication header, right? Once you have done these type of things, you have to select the PFS, which we have discussed in previous slide. it should be a time of different time of the game, right? Once whatever you want to, because you if you change the time, it will take the overload of your overhead of your communication, right? So it should be a minimum or max, that means mean time. As you can see that there is a 3600 seconds of replay time, or you can say the session authentication or secure association timeout, right? Means every 3600 seconds it will change the security association, right? So it depends on the condition, what type of networks you have, or what type of scenario you have. So based on that scenarios, you just choose these parameters. Okay. So after you performing these type of tasks, IPK's IKE proposal and IPSec proposal, you just run the ping command from the PC1, which is the part of the one network, branch network, or you can ping to the other device PC2, right, which is the part of headquarter, right? So you observe that you just first ping response will be request timeout, which is the usual response. Loss of this first package is because of the IP IKE negotiation delay, right? So it could be a sometime one, it could be a two request time or two. Don't worry about it. You just check if the reply come to you. So it means your tunnel has been established. So, if you want to query IKE security association is established or not, you can use this command display IKE essay. In this slide, or you can see that there is a several, you can say that states of IKE. A description here shows that meaning of the parameter value of tunnel negotiation phase, right? RD is display is most of the cases because which is indicate that the IKE negotiation is succeeded, right? So it could be a stay line, it could be a replaced or fading and timeout or etc. You can see that there is a several states of IKE, the security association. Or and then you if you want to check the IPsec security association, you just use this command display IPsec assay. IPsec assay information, where you can see that here you can see the which interface of the firewall is using this IPsec security association, and which ACL groups is going on, where the basic information of IPsec policies, including the IKE negotiation mode, and what is the manual or automatic, or and which type of ACL we have inserted in the data flow, and which type of mode we are selecting of the when we are select the IPsec, right? And furthermore, we have also knows that the as you can see that there is a display in your screen. So there is a tunnel address information, including local and peer tunnel addresses, and the source and destination addresses all are mentioned in this slide. Okay. So here we have completed the site-to-site VPN. So keep in your mind the how we have discussed what we have discussed, site-to-site configuration, how we have configured it, right? And what is the parameter we have set. So we have discussed in a very detailed manner. So because of the shortage of time, we have moved forward, and we will we will skip some, the configuration part, because we have saw the detail uh, description or configuration in site to site, because it's a similar way. Most of the time we are using the similar way to configure the things, right? So now move to the hub and spoke topology, or hub and spoke IPsec scenario. So once we have a IPsec VPN established between the headquarter to the last in our last slides, we have discussed the site to site, where is the one branch is available, right? If we have the multiple branch, for example, a company required a intercommunication between its headquarter and multiple branch through an IPSec VPN, right? So they want to connect the multiple sites with the headquarter. Then what you need. So the IP address of the headquarter is should be a public IP address. It could be a the fixed or static IP you need at the headquarter address, and the IP address of the branches uh, maybe static or maybe even dynamic. You can say that because usually the dynamic, the public IP address and a static IP address is costly. So we are using the dynamic public IP at the branch, and it doesn't matter if we are we don't have the other peer address. One peer address of the headquarter should be the fix, right? So, what is the key point in this scenario? One headquarter and multiple branches exist. The address of the headquarters should be fixed, should be public address, or should be the static IP addresses. And okay, and addresses of the branches are not fixed. Maybe a dynamic public addresses. Maybe you can say that you also use the static IP address, but it's not recommended because it's a costly, right? So, key point of the solution, use the configuration in the hub and spoke scenario. Use the policy profile for configuring the headquarter without verifying the IP address of the branches. Doesn't matter you have the branch address or not, right? So, branches do not require the communication with each other. In this scenario, in this, you can say that the topology, which we have discussed in next slide. Yes, okay. So this is the slide. As you can see that there is a one headquarter, right, connected with the internet, and multiple branches are connected as well, right, through the internet. So what you did was you just deploy the headquarter and make the headquarter as a hub, right, and deploy the topology which is called the hub and spoke networking, right. So in this scenario, following are the means the means you can say that the requirement branch do not require communication with each other. So this is the limitation, right? And so in this case, IPsec VPN need to be deployed only between the headquarter and the branches. Branches need to communicate with each other. In this case, if you want to communicate one branch to another branch, one branch one want to communicate with the branch two, so it should be go through the routing through the hub site, right? In this case, if a branch access the internet using a dynamic public network IP address, and sorry, okay. So in this case, if the branches access the internet using the dynamic public IP address, right, and it cannot directly communicate with the other branch. In the traditional IPsec VPN scenario, right, communication data between the branches can be forwarded only by the headquarter. So CPU and memory utilization of the hub are consumed, and when the headquarter forward the communication traffic between the branches, and in addition, the headquarter needs to encapsulate and decapsulate the packet transferred between the branches, introducing the extra network delay. So and single point of failure as well. If the hub side is down, then your whole entire network will be down. So these are the limitation of the hub and spoke terminology and technology, right? So this is the configuration map. As you know, I just skip some slides because of limitation of the time, which is this common slide. By the way, we have already discussed in the side to side scenario. right? The key to the configuration roadmap is selecting the site to multi-site at this time. I think yes, I select the slide. Okay, so at this time, what is the roadmap? You start with the basic configuration, then configure the IPsec, and at this time you just select the site to multi-site scenario, right? And configure the local and peer information, configure the inserted data flow, similar, which is we have discussed in our last slide, for example, right? Uh, for the other side, such as the firewall B and C, configure the branches. The scenario is set to site configuration, which we have discussed in our previous slides. So you just in move forward, I will select only one headquarter site, right? The branch sites will same like the site to site VPN. So as you can see that this is the headquarter firewall, and in the headquarter firewall you just select the site to multi-site scenario, right? uh, this scenario is select only for the firewall configuration of headquarter, right? For the firewall, as I said, for the other side, the branches will be should be the site to site scenario which we have already discussed. So peer type at the branch, and you just the this firewall should be the branch gateway. Uh, it is the gateway for the other branches. So you just select this firewall as a gateway. We will also discuss the L2TP as well in upcoming slides, in which you just select the L2TP over IPsec client. But at this time, we have discussed the branch gateway, right? So we configuring the firewall as a headquarter firewall, and the firewall is the gateway for the all branches. Then complete the basic local and peer configuration. As you can see that do not configure the peer address since it's unknown, because it's a dynamic protocol, it's a dynamic ID or dynamic IP address, so it should be unknown, right? So you can leave the peer address information, right? So key configuration inserted the data flow. What you should be use the default security proposal, which we have to go when we configure the inserted data flow. Set the source address and source address to the network segment of the headquarter, and set the destination address to the precise network segment of the each other, because you can see that it's a network addresses, it's not a IP addresses, it's a network addresses. You are adding the segments of range of IP addresses. So that's why they are adding the complete subnet, or you can say that the complete addresses or pool of addresses, right? So this is how the main, you can say that site to multi-site configuration has been done. On the other hand, you just need to select the site to site scenario on the branch, and you just configuration and the follow the instructions and follow the methods which is we have discussed in our previous slide as a site to site VPN connectivity, right? Okay, let's move to the next slide. We will take that question in the end of this presentation, because we have a limited of time and we have to cover more things. So we will take that question at the end of my presentation. I will see the question. I'm sure you have asked so many questions. I have unable to see them. I keep focusing on the presentation first. Then we will move for the question answer session. Okay. So let's move the L2TP over IPsec. What is the requirement? Once we have remote users, such as the traveling employees and these type of things, can use the Windows dial-up software, on the other dial-up software to access the enterprise network, right? Layer 2 tunneling protocol provide a good user authentication, but does not support the encryption, which is the not secure enough. Once you use the simple L2TP, you can say that the tunneling protocol, it everything is fine. You can communicate with either, but the communication is not encrypted, so which is the vulnerable, and anyone can take advantage of this communication and can interrupt in your network, right? And so these type of the L2TP is not secure enough. So, what is the key point of the scenario? Mobile user access the internet through the L2TP dial-up. Data is not encrypted during the network transmission, right? This is the key problem. Okay, key points of the solution: use IPSec to encrypt transmitted data. Use L2TP over IPsec to combine L2TP and IPsec. So IPsec will provide you the encryption, right? So that's why we will use the L2TP over the IPsec, because IPsec provide the tunneling protocol between the users and the headquarter, remote user to the headquarter, and IPsec will provide the uh, encryption, as you can see that in this figure. So there is a company network is going on, as you can see that, right? And there is a connectivity between the your company network with the you can say that the L2TP access concentrator, which is lies in the ISP's network, right? They will take care of your all tunneling between the remote users, and you can say that it's a kind of a relay, if I'm not wrong. It's a kind of a relay. You can just connect with the ISP network, and on the other hand, your company is also connect with the L2TP access control concentrator, as you can see that. Here is the network topology which we are talking about, right? So your L2TP over IPsec is applied to the scenario. Your computer or your headquarter servers are connected with the LNS, which is the part of the ISP, right? It's your part, okay. Sorry, it's your part, and then your LNS will connect with the IP internet ISP, or leg is available in the ISPs to facilitate your firewall. And on the other hand, your users to use the what you can say that packet are encapsulated using the L2TP and then transmitted using the IPsec, right? And L2TP and IPsec VPNs are generally deployed together to complement the advantages of each other. You know that L2TP is used to perform the dial-up and obtain the headquarter intranet or headquarter uh, local network. However, the L2TP is not secure enough. So it can be work with the IPsec to ensure the secure communication. As you can see in the figure, the LSE client is connected to the headquarter L2TP network, which is the LNS, right, through the internet. This required to traveling employees lack directly initial connection request to the LNS, and that communication data be transmitted to the LNS through tunnel. Then L2TP is used to encapsulate layer 2 uh, data and authentication. User identifies an IPsec is used to encrypt the data. Means the L2TP is used to encapsulate the layer 2 traffic, right? And the IPsec used to encrypt these type of data. So we have completed the three portions now. There is the last portion now. This is the GRE, which is the most common available protocols, or you can say that the technology, uh, GRE. Uh, let's start. Let's discuss with the GRE. An enterprise deployed multicast service and required service transmission between the two branches. Currently, insecure GRE tunnel are used to service transmission. The administrator expect the service data can be transmitted in a more secure way, right? So what is the key point of this scenario? You use the multicast service are deployed, right? And IPsec does not support multicast, broadcast, and non-IP packets. This is the problem. This is the issue with the IPsec, because the IPsec VPN is a site-to-site VPN. Basically, the concept behind this the site-to-site, right? So to overcome this multicasting issue, multicast, broadcast, or non-IP packets. So we use the GRE. So GRE transmission through the GRE tunnel is also, on the other hand, if you are talking about the GRE is not secure, is not encrypted, right? So here is the solution. So use IPsec to encrypt to be transmitted data, and use of GRE over the IPsec for multicast service. So by using the GRE, you can say that you can utilize IPsec as a multicast service as well, right? So if you can see the GRE oversight is applied the scenario where multicast and broadcast or and the non IP packet need to be transmitted over the IPSec VPN. For example, a video conferencing between the headquarter and branches. So you can use the GRE over IPsec, combine the advantages of the both GRE and IPsec multicast, and broadcast and non-IP traffics or non-IP packets are encapsulated and into a common IP packet using the GRE, and then encapsulate IP packets are surely transmitted using the IPsec tunnel, right? So this is the common advantage of GRE over IP. So as you can see that in the slide, so there is a branch, there is a headquarter, and you can create, or you can say that you can create the GRE tunnel over the IPsec to take the advantages of you can say that the take the advantages of GRE over the IPsec. For example, a video conferencing between the headquarters or something like that, right? Which we have discussed. In the GRE over solution, in the GRE over IPsec solution, packets are can be encapsulated in either tunnel mode, or you can also select as a transport mode as well. Compare the transport mode in the tunnel mode. IPsec here header are added to IP packet become a longer and are more easy fragmented. Therefore, the transport mode is recommended for the GRE IPsec, right? Okay, so this is the configuration. It is the recommended that the GRE over IPsec be configured through the CLI mode other than the GUI mode, right? An IPsec profile defined that the data flow protection method, including the IPsec proposal, IKE negotiation parameters required for the automatic SA or SA negotiation or SA lifetime, which is the security association, by the way, and PFS features. So an IPsec profile is similar to an IPsec policies, which we have discussed in our last slide. So therefore, their difference is that IPsec policy or profile is unique identified by the name and must be configured through the IKE negotiation. So an IPsec profile does not require any ACL to define data flow, but protect all data flows routed to the virtual IPsec tunnel. You know, it's IPsec tunnel is the virtual. Okay, so I after an IPsec profile is applied to an virtual, you can say that the virtual IPsec tunnel interface. Only one IPsec tunnel is generated and all data flow routed to the tunnel interface, which are the protected through the IPsec, right? Simplify the security profile management. For successful IKE negotiation, all parameter configured in the security profile must be those for the pair, and it should your responsibility to double check it. Sorry, it's your responsibility to double check the parameter, because I remind you once again, this is the most whenever I'm going for the troubleshooting to the any issues, most of the time issue is the misconfiguration. You Sometimes you are not follow the rules and follow the script, so that's why most of the time tunnel is not established. Right, this is the end of my today's slide. Let's have a last session questions review, what we have discussed in our last session. There are several questions asked in the last you can say that the presentation, right? So first question is the what is OSI layer IPsec work on? Which OSI layer? Sorry, which is OSI layers? Like it's of
Fahim,
course it's a
hello.
layer three.
Sorry for
Yes.
interrupting, but I know in 20 minutes you have to go, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
And there are so many questions in the chat, and
Oh, okay.
we don't have time to go through the questions from the last session. I don't even think we have time to go through all the questions from today's session. So
Okay.
maybe you can check the chat a bit. My recommendation,
There
give
is a
it the limited time because there are so many questions, is that if the question has already been answered, or if it's not that relevant to the topic, you
okay.
don't have
How
to
does the
answer it.
internet key? Okay. So how does the internet key exchange protocol facilitate secure key management and IPsec? And what are the mm, what are the MA? Okay, in phase involved. So IT proposal already we have discussed in our slides. There is a IKE process. You can see my screen. I think we have discussed it. We have already discussed it. Okay. Now, what is the next questions of the version problem that can cause IPsec VPN connection failure? Yes, of course, which is the most common and which is the should pay the most attention. Yes, of course, you are right. What is the name of this guy is very good question and very I already repeat so many times. There is a connection failure. The most common cause is the configuration. So most of the time you have to just double check the configuration.
I also want to mention, like I said in the chat, for those of you who also want to participate in the activity, please also post your question in the community, in a comment below the webinar post, so that Fahim can check them later and see them. Maybe you'll be able to reply in the community later, because now there are tens of questions, so many questions, and so here is the link
So
again.
I think Okay, so I think, Elena, we should reply on the portal as well, right? Because there is so many questions I saw. I
Yeah,
really
there are
sorry, I didn't
so
see
many.
the.
We will need
Yeah, okay,
about,
I
I
cannot
think,
address.
2 more hours to cover all the questions. A lot of
So I
questions.
really sorry for I cannot see the question part. So no problem. We will reply on one by one on the portal. You will see the reply of these questions soon in the portal. I will try my level best to answer this question on the portal as soon as possible. Right?
Yes, and you'll also choose the users who had the best questions. But as I said, for some of you, I can recognize the nickname from the community. But if I cannot find you in the community, you cannot participate in the activity to win rewards for the best question. So please also post in the forum because Fahim will also be able to check your questions later and answer them in the community. As you can see, there were
Okay.
so many questions today. We don't have that much time to cover all the questions. We would need
Okay.
about
Let's move.
1 hour and a half more, and
Ali-
we don't. Yes,
Okay. Let's move forward to the question part now. What do you suggest?
yes,
Should I move forward?
yes, because I don't think you have time to answer everything now, right? So
Let's. Here is the quiz.
yes, but I cannot see your screen now. Can you please share again?
Okay, hold on for a while. Let me check.
Okay, so for example, what is the content of HCI Datacom is not a question related to today's topic. Please consider that our presenter's time is limited, so make sure you stick to relevant questions for today's topic, not just random or general questions. Thank you. Okay,
So
so basically,
you can see screen my screen.
yes, now I can see the first question. Can you go to the previous slide first so that I can introduce the activity?
Okay.
The next one, please.
Yes.
Okay, this one, thank you.
You can see.
Okay, so I shared the link a few times in the chat before. I will share it one more time just for everyone to have quick access to it. So I shared here, this is the link to the webinar post for today's session. So basically, if you are not familiar with our activities, we will present 3 questions which are, of course, related to today's content. And if you answer the 3 questions correctly, you have a chance to win 600 high coins that you can later use in the online shop in exchange for different physical items. So it's important to know that 1, you need to answer all of them correctly. 2, we will choose 5 users who answered all the questions correctly randomly. So this is how we choose them randomly. And in order to participate, you need to leave a comment below this webinar post with all 3 answers in the same comment, please, just to make sure that it's easier for me to check them as well. And now we will just introduce the questions, but don't worry, I will also add them in the post. I will update this webinar post and add the questions there as well. I will hide the replies, I will hide the comments after I publish the questions there. And we will announce the winners next week after we allow you to have a few days to answer. um, you'll be able to see if you won as well. Okay, now we can present the 3 questions. That just present them. We don't need to spend too much time
You can see my
here.
screen.
Yes, so this is
You
the
can
first.
see.
Yes, yes. Now I can see the first question.
So what is the primary purpose of the site-to-site IPSec VPN? There is a 4 options available. You just select the one of them, right?
Yes,
Can I move the second one?
sure.
This is the second question. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the hub and spoke IPSec VPN architecture? You can select the most of the relevant answer, right? You can select more than one, right?
Yes, so this is a multiple answer, so please, we also
Yeah.
mentioned that. Yeah.
Here is the third question, which is the true and false options. The L2TP protocol provides a strong encryption on its own, make the additional of IPsec primarily redundant in most VPN implementations.
Yeah.
So it's finished and goodbye from my side. Alina, it's over to you now.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Our presenter has to join another meeting very soon, so he needs to leave the meeting. He will check your questions if you posted them in the community. So if you leave a comment with your question, he will check your questions and answer them. Of course, if they are related to today's topic. And thank you all for so many questions. It's clear that you're interested in today's topic. I'm very happy to see that you're interested in the topic we presented. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you for your time. I invite you to answer these three questions in the community if you want to win 600 high coins. And also our presenter will choose the three best questions based on, I will send all the questions to him and he will select the ones that are the most interesting or the most relevant for today's webinar. I'm sorry that we didn't have more time to answer more questions, but anyway, we would have spent another few hours to answer all the questions. There were so many, so it's impossible to stay that long in a live webinar. But no worries, we will answer them in the community. So just share your comment there. So with that being said, this was our session for today. Thank you all for joining. Have a nice day or evening ahead, and I hope to see you in other future live webinars as well. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you, of course, Fahim, for presenting. Thank you as well. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. You too. Have a nice day. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.